I was born and raised in East Texas, and I've been in church as long as I can remember. I came from a blue-collar family, and I didn't get everything I wanted growing up, although I never went without either. My little sister and I never went without the love of our parents. They made sure that we were in church on a regular basis, and I grew up with a good knowledge and understanding of God, but I never had a personal relationship with Him. At one point, I can remember seeing a prominent member of the church I attended living a life contrary to the things he was teaching. Seeing all this caused me to doubt everything that I was taught, and eventually God in general. It wasn't long after that my family and I moved to a new house. This meant that I had a new school, new friends, but never a new church. The house we moved to was way out in the country. There wasn't much to do for fun that wouldn't get you into trouble. Needless to say, I got in a lot of trouble. I started with sneaking cigarettes and alcohol, then it was marijuana, and by the time I was driving, I was doing cocaine and meth on a regular basis. I was getting in trouble at school, staying gone for days at a time, and even been arrested a time or two. After scoring drugs for other people, it didn't take me long to notice that I could make a profit, and I began selling drugs to save from my habit. Over time, my tolerance got bigger and bigger, and the company I kept got worse and worse. And at the age of 17, I was using drugs intravenously. My parents knew something was wrong and had discovered to some extent what I was doing. And I wasn't legally an adult, so I was placed in a rehab against my will. By the night number 2, I'd had enough, and I dunked out a door, jumped a few fences, and hitchhiked back home.
Wow.
My secret was out, and I didn't feel like I had to tiptoe around anymore. So when I got back, I picked up right where I left off. The days that followed were pretty dark until a year later I found myself in rehab again. I was there this time under the coercion of my girlfriend at the time. She went also. I didn't finish this time either. A few weeks later, I was at a dealer's house and I accidentally overdosed. My girlfriend and her friend loaded me into a car and took me back to a motel room where they took everything I had and laid me on the bed without calling for help. It just so happened that when the desk clerk looked out the window at the exact moment they were bringing me inside the ambulance. Bringing me inside, and they called an ambulance. When the ambulance arrived, I was practically dead. In fact, had to be revived twice en route to the hospital. The same day, my mother went on a trip to China. While this was happening to me, my mother and a group of missionaries were praying for me. I woke up 3 days later in the ICU, and my doctor came in to read me my tox screen. After 5 minutes of trying to convince her that I wasn't trying to commit suicide, she looked at me and told me that God wants you alive. After this experience, I was a little rattled, and I quit using hard drugs. I continued to drink and smoke pot. 2 years went by, and while I was under the influence, something set me off, and I was back using again. I picked up right where I left off. I was running the streets, selling drugs, and getting in trouble. This went on for about 7 years until I found myself in a hospital room again. Sorry.
It's okay to get that close.
I was
It's okay to get that close.
holding my newborn daughter, and all of a sudden I realized that someone else would suffer the consequences of my choices. My daughter's mom and I weren't together at the time, and I tried sincerely to get my act together and clean my life up. I realized that no matter how hard I tried, that I couldn't. I always told myself I could do it, I just didn't want to. And for the first time, I could feel the extent of my bondage. It terrified me. I panicked. I became reckless in the way I did things and the amount of drugs I was doing. I was on a crash course with a disaster, and I did end up getting busted. I found myself looking at 2 to 20 in state prison. My car was impounded. My family disowned me and threw away everything that I had. I had no hope of seeing my daughter again because by this time I was in a custody dispute. I was all alone, and I didn't have anything other than the clothes that I was arrested in. I was miserable. One day I was sitting in a cell, and I overheard another inmate talking about Jesus. I asked him to get me a Bible the next time he went to church so that I could have something to read. He did bring me a Bible, and I began reading it. There were parts of it I didn't understand, and that caused me to think heavily about them. I remember that as I would think about them, the truth would be revealed to me, and it was a truth like I'd never heard before. Finally, I hit my knees and told God that I'd made a mess out of my life, but if He could heal me, that I'd live the rest of it for Him, and I meant it.
Praise Jesus.
Right then, He took my heart of stone and gave me a heart of flesh. I spent all of my time in
Amen.
the Word trying to get to know Him. One day, I got a letter in the mail from the mother of my child who hated my guts when I was arrested, and I expected to open it and find that the courts had ruled in her favor, and that I'd never see my daughter again. But instead, she was sorry to hear that I'd been locked up, and that if I got out of jail, I could come see my daughter.
Wow. Awesome.
My parents also started to visit me in jail, and after 3 months, I was out. 1 week later, I was reunited with my daughter and got to celebrate her first birthday with her. I've been very much in a life since, and when I went to court, I got sentenced to probation, which I've since completed. When God set me free, it wasn't freedom to wake up every day and hope that I didn't slip up. It was freedom to not even be tempted anymore. I've been over 5 years clean and sober, 0 relapse.
Amen. Praise Jesus. My brother, my brother.
And He's restored everything the devil tried to take away.
Yes.
My life hasn't been easy, but He's been there with me to get me through it.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.